All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Wilderness Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Rob Minturn. Today, I'm joined by Justin Burkett. Um, I got a lot of things to say about you. Most of them not good, but uh, Justin and I, we ran into each other out in California many years ago, and we've become hunting buddies. And he's dabbled in some wilderness PT content. So, Justin, why don't you take it from there? Who are you? How did we meet? And
Yeah, so I mean, I'd like to first off say I feel like I was more of a mentor to Rob when we first met, and hunting buddies, more like instructor, but that's in the past, I guess. So
neither here nor
anyway, yeah. Um, so yeah, we met. I was an aide at the clinic. Rob was working. We started talking about hunting stuff. Started going on some hunts, I guess you could call them, more like just kind of camping and hiking around. Um, and then after I was an aide, I went to PTA school and I became a PTA out in California. And then I moved back and I've done some travel work around. And then as far as like my exercise experience and kind of the whole point of this episode today, before all of that, I was a CrossFit coach, specifically like a level 2 CrossFit coach for about 10 years. I started basically right out of high school, just like slightly after high school. Got into a gym, started working, started coaching, and then carried that over to California. Coached for a few years there, programmed for my gym there as well. And then once I moved back, like I said, I started doing some travel work. And yeah, I mean, that's the nitty gritty of the background, I'd say.
very desperate for programmers.
Don't say that. I was qualified for the job.
I don't know, man. To know you more, I think you're qualified less and less. Justin is the one that writes the Spicy Saturday workout. So if you guys are doing those and you absolutely hate them, that's
You're
don't
welcome.
blame Justin.
I'll take it.
With your PTA, with your associates, you picked up travel right away, you said, right? And
Yeah.
so you've worked coast to coast because you've worked in California, now you're back in Maryland, but you've worked down south, you worked in New Mexico too.
Yeah. New Mexico, Atlanta. And then I did some stuff back here in Maryland. And then now I'm full time, no longer traveling. So making a little less money, but a little bit more stability, I guess you could say.
Right, right.
Yeah.
What did you learn through your travel experiences that you've now incorporate into your clinical practice?
I mean, I've gotten really good at building rapport pretty quickly with patients, I feel like. A big part of it is like the contracts are only 3 months at a time. So you don't even have a lot of the times you don't even get to see people from beginning to end. So you got to kind of make them trust you pretty quickly to kind of get the ball rolling. So that really helps out. And then just meeting the different either owners of the clinics or the directors or whatever, just kind of getting ideas from all different people. So you're working in a skilled nursing home one week, and then you're in a hospital, and then you're in an outpatient clinic, and it's a whole bunch of different people with a bunch of different injuries and what have you. And then you're just learning how different people treat different conditions and how different patient populations respond to different things, what exercises work better for this, or how to scale something for this person. So just like a little bit of everything, really, how to be a sponge and kind of learn from
Soak it all
people
up.
all over.
Yeah, I'd say that's because I mean I'm still traveling, and that's the what you lack in stability and mentorship from one clinic you gain in working coast to coast and with different populations in different settings. And
Yeah.
you mentioned that you don't see people from beginning of the plan of care to the end of the plan of care, but start to see people in different settings. Like you'll see people in acute care, and then you'll go to a skilled nursing facility. Well, you might not see that same person from acute care into the skilled nursing facility, but you've seen the different settings that people are in.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, here I'm going to try and set you up for a little bit better when you go to this skilled nursing home, or when you get from the SNF, you go to outpatient. You try to
Yeah.
set up for that stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought of it like that, but that's like something you do subconsciously, but actually verbalizing it, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not the same person, but you see the different settings.
Yeah.
With all of that, are you still coaching CrossFit?
Yeah, no more coaching CrossFit. I still do CrossFit, or if you want to just call it functional fitness, it's still like a major part of my life as far as fitness goes and just like mental health goes. And vanity purposes as well, because everyone wants to look good naked kind of stuff. So it's still a big part of my life, but I don't coach anymore, just mainly because of the time commitment I would need. Like when I first started coaching, I was a firefighter full time, a career firefighter. So a full time being I'd work 24 hours and then I'd have 3 days off. So on those 3 days off, I was coaching. So it was essentially like having two full time jobs, but just the way the schedules work now, working like a normal ish 9 to 5, you don't have that kind of time to, I don't have that time to dedicate to actually coaching a bunch of classes and without having a social life as well. Like I would be pulled in too many directions.
For folks who are thinking about getting into CrossFit because of your coaching background, I'm sure you worked with a bunch of new athletes, maybe athletes that had been working out previously and joined CrossFit, or athletes that had never worked out and they wanted to come into CrossFit. What are the three biggest things that you would give folks who are going to be new to CrossFit, regardless of their background? What are three tips that you would give them?
You got to find a good gym. So like number one is finding a good gym. There's a million and one different ways to kind of figure out how to find a good gym. One of the biggest things, obviously, is going to be the cost. You got to make it affordable. Your schedule, it's got to fit into your schedule. It's got to be close enough to either your home or your work so you will go. There's no excuses to not go. If it's too far away, you're not going to want to go. So, really, eliminating, I would say the biggest thing is eliminating all excuses that are keeping you from going. And then when you actually get to the gym, how do you tell if there's good coaches or not? Or how do you tell if they care about their athletes or not? One of the things that the original founder of CrossFit always said was if he would go and visit a gym, he would look at the bathrooms. Because if they take care of their bathrooms, then they're probably going to take care of the rest of their equipment, making sure it's not like all beat down. Like there's a cool vibe to go into a gym that's all beat down equipment and rusted and like real gnarly looking. But as much as that's for a powerlifting gym where you pay $20 a month kind of thing, a CrossFit gym is pretty expensive. You're paying for personal training essentially. So you want to have kind of top of the line equipment. So it's definitely do your due diligence, research things that are around you. And most gyms, if not all, will have a free intro period. So use that free trial to kind of get a vibe on what the classes are going to be like when you get there, how the coaches teach, and then if they're receptive to things that you need to scale for. As far as big three things, that free trial is big, making sure the gym, like eliminating all your excuses to get there and have a good attitude about it. Like a lot of people go into CrossFit anxious or afraid or nervous that they're not good enough, they're not strong enough, yada yada, because there's freaks like me that are there flipping all over the place and whatnot. But it really is meant for everybody. It's all about a community. So going into it with that mindset of like, this is literally for anybody from all ages, all walks of life and injuries or what have you. Going into it with that open mind and not being afraid is really going to kind of let you blossom and get that whole experience, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the community aspect, the team aspect of it, because then you have partner workouts within that, right? And
Yeah.
that was my first experience with CrossFit. It was an excellent experience. I actually just did a drop-in class on my way through when I was heading out to Wyoming back in October. I did a drop-in class with them, and it was like nothing had changed
Yeah.
as far as the quality. The original coach, they kind of split ways, and he's got his own gym now with a few other coaches. And he was the coach that morning, and it was just like did not skip a beat. It just walked in, picked up, and it was I don't think it was a partner workout that day, but some days you have partner workouts, and that was the thing that terrified me the most was I didn't want to disappoint my partner because
Yeah.
I was new to CrossFit, right? And so, but that makes you elevate your game. And
A
then
100%.
when you're there and you do and you've been there for like 3, 4, 5 months, now you're starting to get the hang of the CrossFit movements, you're getting the hang of the terminology, you're getting the hang of all of that. And then someone new comes in, well, now you get to be the veteran, right? And you're going to be experienced, and then you know exactly what they're going through as far as the mentality aspect if they're brand new to CrossFit, so you can kind of bring them up. Just like on an elk hunt, you pack in, and then all of a sudden your stomach cramps on day one because you're not used to endurance activity.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know anything about that?
I might know a thing or two. I don't know. Like totally
And
if I pulled that out of nowhere.
and you got to pick up the slack for anybody, whether it's packing out an animal or packing in, packing out. Someone's hurt, someone's got a cramp, someone's got something going on,
Somebody fell flat on their face and maybe something happened.
right? Bloody nose, I don't know. On the last day of the hunt, you learn from CrossFit with those partner workouts, especially the team workouts, to like sometimes you're going to be the guy that's dragging butt, or sometimes you're going to be the guy or gal that's doing very well, and you can carry the extra slack or the extra workload because someone else can't carry their own.
Yeah,
So
it's really a big like it's like embracing the suck with somebody who's also embracing the suck. Like you're not in it alone. So it like you said, it carries over to a hunt well of like, God, this sucks. Like we are getting our butts kicked down here. But it's like we are all getting our butts kicked together, which is like that type 2 fun thing where it's like in the moment you're sucking wind and you can't feel your feet, but then an hour later when you're sitting against the wall watching the next class or around the fire, it's like, God, you remember when that idiot fell flat on his face and we had to drag him up? It's like it makes it so much more worth it with the community. That's why I always preferred the CrossFit gym over your typical Globo gym, is that community aspect makes such a big difference.
yeah, 100%. And in the program too, we coach some of the CrossFit terminology. So some people, I've had some clients that have gone and tested out some CrossFit gyms while they're in the program because they're like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. It's like, no, we go over the terminology, we structure some of the workouts similar to what they might experience in a CrossFit gym. Obviously, it's not going to be the same because they're doing it by themselves at a standard resistance training gym.
Mm-hmm.
But then it reduces that barrier, reduces the number of hurdles that they have to jump in order to go to a CrossFit gym.
Yeah, and like if people have been doing those spicy Saturday workouts, if you've done any of them, that's very similar. I'm coming from a CrossFit background. So like the majority of it, like I said, even if you don't want to say CrossFit functional fitness, it's that exact same type of thing you're going to see. So if you've been doing those at home, going to the gym, it's going to be the same idea. Obviously things are different, moved here and there, but it's that same core principle there.
Yeah. As far as coaching goes, because I think that's the biggest thing. When I moved to California the first time, I went to a CrossFit gym. Gym was beautiful, like very well taken care of. I didn't like the coaches.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, the vibe of the gym did not compare to what I came from in Minnesota, which was my first experience. What are some things that people can look for as far as the coaching staff goes and in the community goes? Like, is there anything that stands out to you? Like, hey, if you see this, you know it's a pretty solid gym.
So being a coach and like having expectations and coming from a gym that really harped on that. One, just looking at the gym online before you even walk in, if they don't have bios about their coaches with photos, so you at least know who you're going to, that's kind of a red flag. You should want to at least have an idea of who your coach is going to be. But as far as like walking in the door, one of the biggest things for me and why I liked CrossFit, but then also allows you to kind of see when it's bad, is if you're an unfamiliar face that walks into any CrossFit gym, you should be greeted almost immediately, like either by just a random athlete that's there or the coach that is going to be coaching that class. Somebody should come up to you and shake your hand and look you in the eyes and say like, "Hey, what do you do? Like, what are you up to? What are you doing here?" kind of thing. Not like interrogating you, but like trying to figure out, or like you've already messaged, emailed them and had communication and they're like, "Oh, hey Rob, nice to see you, like we're gonna get class started, yada yada." You should, like, it should be a very minimal time between walking through the front door and somebody recognizing that you don't know what the heck you're doing and them kind of taking you under their wing almost immediately. The other things as far as coaches goes, they like, there's a level of professionalism you need. Like it is kind of a happy go lucky environment and you're all just working out and whatnot, but there also needs to be focus on getting the task done. You're only there for an hour. It's an expensive thing, so you don't want to waste your hour. So you need to make sure that they're doing what's written on the board and actually paying attention to people. A lot of coaches get stuck in becoming a cheerleader and not an actual coach. And I don't want to pay somebody $100+ a month to just say, hey, good job, go do the thing. Like, way to go. This is what we're doing. All right, grab your stuff and go. It needs to be broken down into like your warm up, your skill work, your strength work, and then whatever the workout you're doing, and then all your scaling. So like some gyms will have scaling written on the board for the athletes that are already there and advanced. They already know what to do. But the coach should be going up to each individual person and being like, do you have any injuries? Do you have any of this going on? What kind of medical history kind of thing? Just as like a little quick sample history kind of thing. So they know how to adjust and taper this workout for you. I mean, it's literally meant for anybody. So keep an eye out for coaches that pay attention to you, I guess.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my experience. I emailed the first gym, emailed them, and then as soon as I walked in, they're like, "You must be Rob." 'Cause
Yeah,
I walked in on
exactly.
a Saturday workout and I had no effing idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And couldn't raise my arms for about 4 days afterwards, but
Hmm.
it
There you
was a
go.
ton of fun, and it was a great community, and you get better. CrossFit's not the end all be all as far as a hunt prep. You still need to do your low intensity cardio. You still like traditional resistance training is going to be different than your CrossFit style training. So there's benefit to doing all three, but it definitely has its place in hunt prep. Finding a solid gym is super important. So that way you're wanting to go back. It's not something that you dread.
Yeah, and the excuse of like I'm injured or I'm too old or whatever, it's like I said, it's literally meant for anybody. When I was one of my first foundations that I ever coached, uh there was a guy that broke his hand doing a box jump. He literally was like following, like swinging his arms up and smacked the box so hard that he broke his hand. And it was like, all right, well, we're going to scale every single thing that you do, the rest of the foundations, to just single-handed dumbbell work instead of a barbell kind of thing. Like you can, your legs still work. You can still squat. You can still do this. You just have to like be willing to continue working and don't be like, oh, I'm injured. I can't do it anymore. I broke my leg playing football and I still went to the gym and did stuff. You just, it's that kind of environment where you can, a coach will know how to change things so that you can still get fitness, even if it's slight stuff. Just moving your body, period, is better than you being like, I'm injured. I can't move at all.
Yep.
So you can't let that be an excuse.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Could not agree more. One question that I just thought of, the foundations class, what can people expect out of that? I know
So
that it's different with every gym, but
yeah.
what typically, what is someone going to encounter with that foundations class?
Yeah. So, like you said, it's different with every gym on how in depth they go, how long they are. I would say an average one would be 3 days to a week of like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or 5 days a week, or every Monday for a month or something like that. Just a normal hour class where they will take you through like essentially a normal class, but broken down to teach you like, hey, this is what EMOM means, and we're gonna do one now. And this is how class starts. We always start with a warm up. I go over the exercise and they teach you the basic movements. So CrossFit has their 9 foundational movements. They'll go through some version of that with like a dowel rod or an empty barbell so that they at least know you know how to move safely, or if you have an injury, how to prepare that coach that's going to be with you on your first actual class. When you go to that Saturday class and you're just some derpy guy that shows up that can't move a barbell safely, they'll at least have a heads up from the foundations people of like, hey, Rob needs to scale with a kettlebell for these specific movements or things. It helps prepare you for what you're going to encounter, but it also helps the coaches prepare for you so that they know what you need and how to address those needs.
Yep. It just smoothens out the process,
Yeah, exactly.
makes your experience ultimately better.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, man. Was there anything else that you wanted to touch on?
I am always going to be a diehard CrossFit guy. So I hate the stereotype of how do you know someone's a CrossFitter? Oh, they'll tell you in the first 5 minutes of talking to them or whatever. That's not true. So stop hating on all your CrossFit friends, people. It really is a great fitness program. Like I said, if you take the name out of it and just call it functional fitness, the methodology is there. It's pretty solid. Give it a shot. Go to a gym, try your free trials. tell them I sent you. They'll have no idea who I am, but it'll make me feel cool that you just mentioned my name. But yeah, I mean, we did this to kind of show that it will, one, it's available for everyone, and it's going to help prepare you for your hunts. You're moving a lot of weird objects over crazy distances. You're climbing over boxes. You're lifting weights. You're playing on the pull up bars, like monkey bars. Like it's like an adult playground that also gets you jacked and in shape for hunting. So, what's not to love?
I agree. Right on, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. If people want to get a hold of you, do you want to give out any social media stuff, or do you want to keep it anonymous and have them go through Wilderness PT?
I mean, the Wilderness PT, Bucket 319 on Instagram. If you want to DM me, you can slide in there. And then, yeah, we have our emails.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, man. This is cool.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again.
All right.
All right, peace out.
See ya.
Hey, thank you for tuning in to the Wilderness Fitness Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please head over to your podcast app and consider leaving a review. If you think a friend or a family member may benefit from listening to this podcast, please consider sharing this episode with them. We appreciate your help in the growth of this podcast. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram for even more content and the weekly Hump Day Q&A, where you can get all of your human performance, rehab, women's health, and injury prevention questions answered. If you're interested in getting hooked up with even more content from Wilderness PT from the comfort of your own home, head over to wildernessphysicaltherapy.com and get signed up for the Spike Camp membership. This is where you'll have access to prior seminars and a workout that'll have you in shape each fall, designed by yours truly. Since you're there, check out the mid-month media newsletter that goes out 1 to 2 times a month, which includes a variety of topics with the most recent research on health and human performance. You can sign up by hovering over the free resources section and subscribe to any of the free guides, or simply sign up under the mid-month media newsletter tab.